straight out to James Tripp Chaos Wave, and you can tell what this is about. I'm recording this on my smartphone. I've called this "Your Smartphone is a Vampire." Now, I got a lot done today, a lot of things done, a lot of interesting things I wouldn't even have seen happening. I've got an arrangement with somebody to meet up, talk about a potential business deal that wouldn't have come about had I done something that I normally do. I'll admit, because I'm an independent life path creator, I often call it. I don't work for anybody else, I work for myself. That means I get both the blessing and the curse of being the master of my own time, okay? And I wouldn't have it any other way. But what it means is how I manage my time is absolutely critical in what I produce and what I create in my life. And whilst I've spent many years looking into exploring with self-mastery, teaching principles of self-mastery, I'm still a human being, right? And that means I have a human brain. Now, we live in interesting times, and part of what makes these times interesting is that we are surrounded by technology, and we're surrounded by things and infrastructure created by people that have studied the human brain, know how it works, and know how to hack its dopamine systems and these kind of things. So we get our attention pulled away from us. We get our mind pulled away from us. The single biggest source of this pulling away, this pulling out of ourselves is our smartphones, okay? So I get pulled in. I can get pulled into my smartphone, right? I can get pulled in too much, and it takes me out of my creative brain and puts me in consumer mode. So this video is basically for anybody that is looking to be more adept at shaping and creating their lives, who's thought, I've got one life. What do I want to do with it? How much do I want to be in my power to make the differences that I want to make in the world? Well, that's a challenge, because that means living as a creator, living as a creative force. But the world out there wants you to live as a consumer, largely. You see, there are other creators out there that make money from you being a consumer. And none more than those that operate social media and these sorts of things, okay? Now, because I have a human brain, even though I've made a commitment in my own life to living as a creative force, if we get presented with a choice between a carrot and a piece of chocolate, most of us go for the chocolate, unless we really prepped our head. If we're tired, our defenses are low, we're going to get more of that kind of dopamine hit from chasing the chocolate than we are the carrot, right? So imagine if we live in a world full of chocolate. Well, we might just find ourselves on a consumption binge. This is something that can very easily happen with social media, this kind of thing. Now, what's the big deal, right? It's a little bit of pleasure. It's a little bit of pleasure to spend some time on YouTube, surfing that. It's a little bit of pleasure to spend time on Facebook. I play chess a lot on chess.com, okay? I often say when I'm playing chess, I'm just winding down. But sometimes I find myself winding down super early in the day before I've even wound up, okay? I also find, for example, like I'm putting up some videos to my my online deep apprenticeship, Hypnosis Without Trance online deep apprenticeship. Here's a habit that I have. I put the videos up to upload. They're going to take a few minutes to upload. And while I wait, I'm going to pick up my phone. I'm going to start scrolling. I'm going to start looking through YouTube, going to start looking through Facebook, something like that. Now, what is the consequence of this? Why is this a problem? If you want to live as a creative force in your life, if you want to be somebody who's going, right, I'm the primary difference maker in my own life. Well, the problem is you get pulled into consumption and out of creation. And you might think, well, I'm not doing anything else with that time. But here's the thing. Every moment of the day, your brain is creating, right? I like to think that your brain does magic when left to its own devices. Some people, unfortunately, their brain does dark magic and they torment themselves and create a painful reality for themselves. But as long as you're not doing that, your brain can be making new connections, connecting up new possibilities, having thoughts you might not otherwise think. What too much time spent poured into social media, poured into smartphones, poured into that dopamine response, that kind of slot machine of what's next, let me check the notifications, let me check. I'm just checking my messages, I'm just checking this endless checking. How much stuff did you check endlessly before you had a smartphone? Right? The danger here is that it pulls you out of this place where your brain will create. Now, imagine your brain did magic by default, right? Imagine your brain did magic by default. Imagine it danced results out of reality by default. So the Human Nature Channel is saying people have forgotten to contemplate. This is exactly the point, right? When we block the channel, nothing comes through, okay? When we block the channel, nothing comes through. This is a problem if you want to live as a creative force in your own life. And I'm not talking about there churning out books and programs or creating businesses or stuff like that. I'm just talking about engaging with the world, dancing results out of reality. You're not doing that if you're in consumption mode, okay? Actually, I'm going to mention books right now because I mentioned this elsewhere. Complete aside, for the people who are into hypnosis, I've just put out the Hypnosis Without Trance book, how hypnosis really works. So you can get this from Amazon. Just go on Amazon, search for Hypnosis Without Trance. You will find this book. And there's an example of something that got created, something that got brought into the world. When I came up with the framework for this book, the ideas, my brain needed to be alive. It needed to be firing on all its creative cylinders. I sincerely believe that human brains are creative by default. Okay? Now, people are afraid of boredom. They go, oh, I don't want to be bored. They're afraid of, not having that kind of dopamine hit constantly. So their brain is never idle, right? It never gets the chance to truly do nothing. And when it starts to, see, brains don't like doing nothing. So they start doing something. That's when you can start channeling it in a creative direction. All right, so I'm not going to go on for too long in this video because it's just a kind of live stream. I thought I'd jump on and do it to shake off the cobwebs as much as anything else. But if the message resonates for you, do hit thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be staying off consuming social media. So I will be, listen to the irony of that. I'm going to say to you, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit that notifications bell. Why? So you can get that kind of dopamine hit, when you see the notifications and all of that. That's how this system works. It's why Facebook has a thumbs up. It's what it's all about, Here I am, recruited. I'm making a video telling you, stop scrolling, clear your mind. Here I am on social media. There's a terrible irony to that. I'm aware of that. So you make your own choice as to whether you like and subscribe. You make your own choice as to whether you hit the notifications bell. If you're coming across this video randomly, you're new to this channel, my name is James Tripp, and I have for a long time been fascinated by finding our power and leveraging up our own power in our lives to create and shape our lives as we wish them to be. Much of the content on here is about that. There's also a bunch of stuff about hypnosis because I've done a lot of it and I know a fair thing about doing it, but that's not what the channel is all about. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you jump on Amazon. If you're into hypnosis, get the Hypnosis Without Trance book. If you have any questions about anything that I've said in this video, please do make use of the comments section below. And now I have to figure out how I end the live stream. Something like this.